Hi again, Ed. I just saw your reply. So yeah, I'm glad you liked what I shared with you. The whole reason, really, I started this channel is because I couldn't find any resources or any precedent from anybody who'd started a school by themselves without relying on their Japanese partner or Japanese staff. So I thought I'd kind of keep a record of it. So I'm glad to know that it's useful. I haven't been the best about upkeeping videos and getting back to people, which is kind of a shame. But you just get busy. So you're wondering, you say quite a bit in this actually. So yes, I think buying flashcards is worth it. The official edition that's current with whatever your textbook is, and also buying the most recent edition of the textbook because I don't know why I did this. I bought I think the third edition of Let's Go 5 years ago, and at that time it was already fairly old. I think they're up to edition 5 now. I'm slowly phasing it out, but it's just common sense. Definitely the teacher's version, the big flashcards are worth it. You can do all kinds of games. What else are you saying here? Aiming to finish Let's Go series by the time they finish elementary school. I wouldn't say that's super plausible. I actually I go as far as Let's Go 3, and then I'll show you actually. Try to grab it out of the bookshelf here. After Let's Go 3, I start with this one, Interchange, which covers basically the same grammar in the first 3 books of the Let's Go series, but in a much heavier way. A lot more repeat, a lot more writing and listening to native conversations and stuff. This book is also what I start off junior high students with now. I kind of finally figured that out. It's a great beginner's book. The issue with Let's Go is that once kids get to around, I don't know, 10 or 11, there's just not enough for them to work with. For younger kids, they call them Teigakunen in Japanese, like years 1 through 3. The Let's Go series is really fun because it's colorful. There's lots of activities and pictures and things, but eventually it loses its sense of challenge for the upper grades. So I don't use it past level 3. I've never had the chance. Everyone's gone to junior high by that time, and I also take a really long time to work through the books, anywhere between 18 months to 2 years for Let's Go 1, and that's just because I want the kids to have a really, really, really solid foundation. And you mentioned using alpha phonics too. Yeah, that's super, super helpful. I do that every class. We drill the letter sounds, and then the top 7 double letter combinations, like ch and sh and v, all those weird ones that you could just never guess the pronunciation of unless someone taught you. And those don't have any equivalent in Japanese either, so that's really helpful. And then I also do up to 20 letters. Well, I'll just say the letter sound without telling the kids or showing the kids the letter, and then they'll write it, and then at the end we check. And after doing that for a few years, most of the kids can get it 100% correct, because a lot of Japanese kids struggle with the English short sound vowels like ad, it, especially at, it, and those don't have any equivalent in Japanese, so it takes a lot for the kids to be able to distinguish the difference. But once they do, it's so helpful for them. And to me, my thinking, that's one of the most valuable things you can give them, is an ear for English, and also the ability to correctly pronounce those unique English sounds. The grammar and vocabulary is really important too, naturally, but kids that age, they're not out using it and having fun, full-on English conversations. So I really look at their time in elementary school as a time to establish a very, very strong base, and using that time in class to expose them to the native English sounds more so than trying to get them to speak sentences has been my approach. And the Let's Go series is very supportive of that. It doesn't really move very quickly. There's a lot of repeats, a lot of songs, and some of the newer editions have a lot more interactivity online. And unfortunately, these days, a lot of students don't have a computer at home with a CD drive or a DVD, CD-ROM, so that kind of puts Let's Go, the third edition, out of action. What else did you say here? Okay, yeah, I wouldn't get too concerned about like official Eikaiwa levels or curriculums. I've been on the inside of a few of them, and my experience has been there's kind of two schools. One is they rely 100% on the teacher to basically just do something in class, and then the kids come out of class and that's it. And theoretically the kids will keep coming and the parents never know the difference. The other one is usually with the bigger corporate eikaiwas, they'll have a massive, overly structured, completely unrealistic curriculum that even a native instructor or native speaker would have a hard time keeping up with at that same age. So it's nice to find a happy medium. I really struggled with it at first because my boss was like, yeah, just, you speak English, just go in there, here's your textbooks, make sure they have fun, make sure you enjoy it, and I got a class, see you later, bye. And I dealt with that for a very long time. And then I dealt with the other extremes of, make sure they're learning, the third person, past perfect by the time they're, year 5 in elementary school. It just doesn't make any sense. So basically, if your kids are coming once a week, you need to accommodate for that and really just focus on things like phonics, being able to read correctly, listening to simple sentences that are written on the board and understanding where they are. Songs are really good for that. You can pause the song and say, okay, where are we in the song? And they can touch the spot. You'd be surprised how well they can get it. Of course, speaking is the most difficult part. You mentioned you're not a native teacher, so you probably understand that. You learned English yourself, which is actually an awesome asset to have as a teacher, because you can identify with the student's experience kind of more intimately. I use my experience learning Japanese to be able to connect with students and understand, how much it takes. So yeah, they're coming once a week. You really want to spread it out and give them a solid anchor. For me, it's the phonics work, letter sounds, and the listening and writing, and then reviewing the heck out of everything every week. So I usually start the class after the phonics stuff. We'll start with something from 3 weeks ago and review it all up to the current. So in Let's Go series, that'd be 3 or 4 pages ago. I never do more than 1 page for the smaller kids per lesson. Anyways, you review it all the way up to where you stopped last week, then you review that, and then you introduce maybe the next half a page or full page maybe, if it's not too difficult, and then drill some activities with that, using the flashcards and things. And then by that time, the class should be over. Use the last few minutes to explain the homework and maybe have them start the first exercise. Make sure they know what to do and where to look in their textbook so that they have a reference. A lot of kids have this idea that it's not okay to look at their textbook when they're doing homework, and I think that's something they get from their Japanese school, maybe from math class or something, where they think they're expected to figure it out. But it might be helpful to make it clear to kids that it's okay to look at your book and to compare the homework with what the textbook has shown them for that day, and give them the page number, because sometimes they're kind of off in certain editions. And just doing that, just filling your lessons with a lot of phonics work and a lot of review, and sticking to the curriculum in the book is really what you want to do. It's kind of already there, and that's what most eikaiwas do. At the end of the day, they're just following the textbook. With older students and adults and things, you can expand, but it's basically just doing that. A ton of phonics work, a whole bunch of review, and then maybe, 5 to maybe 15 minutes of new stuff, depending on how long your lessons are. And I usually save the last 2 to 5 minutes sometimes more if it's really long, sometimes 10 minutes to focus on the homework and make sure kids have got it. Because that's one kind of danger zone. If the kids go home and they have no idea what to do, they start asking their parents to help, and sometimes their parents may have no idea what to do. Um, that can send the impression that they're not learning anything in class. And so that's another reason you want to be really careful about how fast you go through the book, because if you go too quickly, inevitably kids will fall behind, and you can end up losing students, when the next spring comes around and they're kind of looking at things and just, wondering if English is really worth it. So be really careful there. So anyways, yeah, that's the end of the video. It's already gotten kind of long. I hope that's helpful though. I had a few minutes here. Thought, I'll share where I came from, what's happening, what works for me. So good luck.